Hi there. Did you know that all computer performance analysts have three primary responsibilities? In this video, I'm going to discuss what those three primary responsibilities are. Hi everybody. My name is Peter Enrico from Enterprise Performance Strategies. My team and I are here to help you achieve great workload performance while optimizing the usage of your resources in the mainframe computing environment. Our education and our software is here to help you get better performance results and faster. Now, if you're new here, make sure you click the subscribe button, and any references we give in this video will be listed in the references below. Okay, so let's jump into it. So today what we're going to do is review the three primary responsibilities of all computer performance analysts. I want to help you understand who they serve and what kind of activities are involved in each. If you're someone responsible for computer performance, or you're the manager of someone responsible for computer performance, then this video is for you. Oh, and make sure you stick around to the very end, because at the very end, I'm going to give you the biggest challenge of any computer performance analyst. So let's jump into it. So the first responsibility of a computer performance analyst is to optimize workload performance. Or another way of putting it is, we want to make our customers happy. In the world of enterprise computing, we have lots of different industries that use the mainframe computer. For example, we have banks. In the world of banks, we have ATMs, which we want to make sure that when we put our card in, we get a good response and we get it very quickly. We have the thousands of tellers behind the counter trying to service their customers in an efficient manner. We have online mobile banking, which we want to make sure we check our accounts, and we want to make sure we get good computer performance when we're checking on those accounts. Or think about all the work that has to get done at night for a bank to reconcile their accounts in order to be ready by the next morning. In the world of manufacturing, we have our manufacturing lines and all the supply chains that go along with it, that we want to make sure that in order to have efficient manufacturing, the computer's performing optimally as well. In the world of insurance, we have the thousands of claims adjusters and the thousands of insurance agents that we want to make sure are getting good performance on their computers to be able to service their customers efficiently and well. And oh, by the way, the customers themselves want to check their policies, and they also want to make sure they can pay for their policies online, for example. In the world of finance, think about the millions of stock trades that happen momentarily every day. How does that happen? Because of good computer performance by the computer performance analyst. Think about the stock market when it opens in the morning and all the millions of trades that have to happen right at that moment of everything that may be backed up over the night. In the world of retail, we have our retail stores, our brick and mortar stores, as well as our online stores where we want to make purchases over the internet. Think of the performance that has to happen for those workloads in order to make those customers happy. And oh, by the way, think about the millions of credit card transactions that have to happen in order to make sure that we get our payments and we pay for our goods as we insert our credit card. So workload performance is one of the key responsibilities of all computer performance analysts. Remember, you want to make your customers happy. The next responsibility of a computer performance analyst is to optimize the usage of system resources. Or another way of putting it is, we want to make sure our manager is happy that we're using our resources as efficiently and as effectively as possible. Now, when I mention resources, I'm talking about both physical and logical resources. So an example of a physical resources would be the processor, the KEC, the machine itself that has the CPU capacity, and that we want to make sure that our workloads are using that processor as efficiently as possible so that we're getting the last little bit of capacity out of that machine. Another example of a physical resource would be memory. We have so much memory on the machine that we want to make sure that we have enough memory to contain our workloads so that those workloads aren't paging and thus degrading performance. We want to make sure that we're using that memory optimally so we don't have to always go asking for more. Of course, there's other physical resources such as things like the I/O subsystem where we're doing lots of I/O. Of course, there's lots of what we call logical resources in the system, and I'll get into those in future lectures, but an example of a logical resource on the mainframe at least would be things like initiators. There's lots of queues, there's lots of definitions that we want to make sure that are set up efficiently so that we're processing our workloads optimally. Okay, so the thing we have to remember is about resources is that typically resources are limited. We just can't go and ask for more of them. So given the resources we have, we want to use them as efficiently, as effectively as possible. In addition, resources have a real cost to them. And typically these are very large costs. So we just can't go back out to our managers and say, hey, look, I need a bigger machine. Hey, look, I need more memory. They want you to use those resources as effectively as possible. And finally, the resources tend to be the limiting factor of workloads. If a workload doesn't have enough processor capacity, then that workload is going to suffer. So we want to make sure that we are using the resource, a processor in this example, as efficiently as possible to make sure that the workload that we want to perform well is getting the CPU. And remember again that these tend to have a fixed cost associated with them and we just can't go asking our manager for more. So the second responsibility of a computer performance analyst is the optimization or to optimize the usage of your resources. The fourth responsibility of a computer performance analyst is to help optimize the cost of our software licenses. Or another way of putting it is, we want to make sure that our financial people are happy. In the world of enterprise computing, software licenses tend to be expensive. But they also tend to be charged based on a number of different factors that can cause the cost of that software to go up if the computer performance analyst is not doing their job as well as they should. So for example, typically in the mainframe environment, software licenses are charged based on a number of different factors. So for example, they could be charged based on the size of the machine. So naturally, you don't want your software license or the package that you're using to run on a machine that is unnecessarily large. You want to make sure that it is put onto a machine which is a good fit for the workload, is a good fit for the resource optimization of the machine, and is a good fit for the financial people to make sure we're not being overcharged for that software license. Another way the software license could be charged would be based on the number of footprints. How many systems or how many machines is that software package being run on? And you don't want it run on multiple machines unnecessarily to cause the software licenses to go up. A computer performance person can help make sure that that software license is fitting on the right machine and the right number of machines. And another way that a software license is charged is based on the peak capacity consumed by the systems or by the machine or by the environment during the entire, let's say, billing month of that machine or of that environment. So for example, what the computer will do is constantly measure how much software or how much CPU is being consumed, and then the peak of the month is how that software bill is going to be charged for the licensing fee. There's other ways it's done. It's also done by a cumulative total, how much software or how much software capacity is being consumed over the year. The point is, it's based on consumption. So the key lesson to learn here about the third responsibility is that software license vendors will charge based on a number of different factors that if the computer performance analyst doesn't do their job as efficiently as possible or to optimize the licensing fees as best as possible, we're going to get charged unnecessarily high. That is the third responsibility. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of this video I would give you an extra bonus, and that was to tell you what I felt was the biggest challenge to a computer performance analyst. Well, here it is. During this video, I outlined the three primary responsibilities to a computer performance analyst. The first one was to optimize workload performance. The second was to optimize the usage of system resources. And the third one was to optimize our software licensing cost to help make our financial people happy. The issue is, the big challenge is that we have to make all three of those happen simultaneously. And the issue, though, is that they are conflicting objectives. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's take workload performance as an example. One of the easiest ways to get better workload performance is to get a machine of more capacity, to get more memory, to get more I/O bandwidth, to allocate more physical and logical resources on faster machines and more efficiently so that those workloads perform better and better. The problem is that's not going to make the management very happy. Likewise, if I want to make sure that my system resources are being used more optimally, one of the easiest ways to do that is to get rid of a workload. Hey, that workload's using up too much processor. Let's get rid of it. Hey, that workload is using up too much CPU. Let's put it down to a low CPU dispatching priority and cap it. But naturally, that's going to make the workload people very unhappy. So we have to make our workload people happy at the same time we're trying to make the system more efficient or our resources more efficient. And the software licensing fees, well, we can make our software licensing fees go down by capping a machine, by capping a workload, by limiting the amount of resources that a particular workload can use. And that will keep the software licensing fees down. The problem with that is that our workloads are not going to perform very efficiently and the customers are going to be very unhappy. And the second is our resources will then not be used optimally. Here we have a machine that's this big, but we're limiting it to be this big in order to make our software licensing fees go down or be lower. And that is the biggest performance challenge. Getting all three of those responsibilities, carrying them out simultaneously and making everybody happy. Making your customers happy, making your management happy, and making your financial people happy. So hopefully you learned something during this video. There'll be more videos to expand on all of these subjects. So hopefully you're going to click on the subscribe button, click on the like button if you learned something during this video, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Peter Enrico here, out.